races and so on. And I'm thinking, Steve Lajoie's not racing. Edward Thibault is racing with his daughter.
With his daughter.
And I'm seeing the teams the way they're formed. And I said, it looks like we're really going to have a legitimate race this year to the finish.
Yeah, no question about it. I really think it'll be a 2 to 3 team race. But those seem to be but there's so many with 100 teams. That's how many teams are officially sprinting this 100. Year. It was as high as 106 at one point. We've had an emergency appendectomy take a team out just the day before, and so we're down to 100. But that's, as we know, that's a pretty good bounce back year from 110 last year.
Yeah, it sure is.
Well, the thing that surprised me, what did you say? There's 30 rookies?
Yeah, almost 50.
50,
49
geez.
rookies. Oh, I hate to say this, but there might be some carnage on the river.
There could be a lot of dropouts.
That's it. That's what I think too.
Well, now, I hadn't heard this before until Wayne Copa told me that now you have to make specific times at some of the bridges because they're pulling people off a lot sooner.
They
didn't used to do that.
No, they did not. That is they've been doing it for a few years now, but right, it's a relatively new phenomenon now. They know, they have it down to such a science that if you don't meet this time requirement, say at Stefan Bridge, no one's ever finished a race if you don't meet it by this time.
Yeah, that's a good precaution.
Yeah, really. Oh, absolutely. They have
for
to
the
protect
safety
themselves.
Of the paddlers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, but and I get it 1,000,000%. But if I am dedicating nobody goes at this half-assed or relatively half-assed.
You're right.
I don't care if I don't make it under the clock. I still want to see if I want to finish.
Because of the personal challenge.
Exactly.
Yes.
You get to a point like I can see me finishing. I know it's not going to count in the record books. But they don't do that in marathons. They'll wait at the marathon at a run.
Yeah.
For 3 or 4 hours.
After the bulk has come in. So, like you said, Rich, there's insurance things and a lot of other things that are at stake. But if they're pulling me off, I remember when it first happened, when all that bad weather came in, they pulled some of the guys off.
I was there at Whirlpool Road outside of Oscoda,
and people were fighting them.
Oh yeah, it was a bad weather.
It was bad weather.
I had a kid that was in a kayak just floating down the river from Foot Dam to Oscoda. This kid's there. I had him get in my Jeep with me. It's to protect this kid because he didn't know, and it was almost tornadic weather, and they pulled people off the river. The storm went through and allowed them to get back into it.
They did put some of them back in the river,
get back. But man, when you've been sitting in those canoes, other than the portages, and for 15 to 18 hours, and your mind, you sit down in a vehicle for safety, you fall asleep immediately. Those guys, Bill Dean was one of them. And they were sitting there, and it's just like, but they got back in, and they finished.
And they took the time, they calculated the time out, and there's been a lot of different interesting things about the race. But I was surprised, Dave Bird texted me who won the, I'm like, Danny Medina. Yeah. You're like, wow. I mean, obviously he's improved quite a bit as a paddler.
He has. He spent all those years working down at the Barton pig farm.
Yep.
And so using that as training grounds, he got married this spring to a paddler by the name of Cecily Boogie. And they both love to paddle. And Danny had a great race. And the common denominator, he was with Logan Miner, who Wes Dean won the New York race with. Logan Miner is a very good Texas paddler.
Okay, so go backwards, Rich. You said you think there's 3 potential winners?
Yeah, I think, yes. Of course, Wes Dean, Ryan Halstead, Danny Medina, Logan Miner, and then Mike Davis and Guillaume Blais. Right. Guillaume Blais is a past champ.
Sure.
He's Canadian. Mike Davis has been knocking on the door for
years.
Yes. Those guys set record sprint times from the second half, like second 3/4 of the race last year, from Cook Dam to Oscoda. They set all kinds of records.
Wow.
They got their second or third or 15th wind of the night, and all of a sudden they came on big time in that deep water. If the race would have went another hour, they may have caught everybody.
Wow.
They finished like 3rd overall, but they were catching everybody. Wow. They just all of a sudden got this burst of energy. So I don't know if early on they're going to be good in the shallower waters. They tend not to paddle as well up here. Once it gets deeper down at the dams, then that's when they turn it on.
Okay. What's the water like?
It's low.
Okay.
It's kind of gotten back. The estimated
We haven't
time-
had rain. We
No,
haven't had any
I-
serious rain in a while.
I know. I was really hoping we'd get some significant rain the other day.
And it doesn't look like we're going to have rain between now and the
It's
race.
going to be bluebird days here
Yeah,
for the next couple. So, yeah, it's probably 14 and a half, 14:45 is what they're guesstimating as
Yeah.
finishing towards the top.
They're pretty good at guesstimating.
They really are.
It's
I mean,
it's almost stupid. Like, we're getting to the point where why do we even have the race?
We can just predict and tell you what your time's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen any of the odds on my my FanDuel account yet.
No,
we
no,
haven't
you
quite
probably
put
haven't
that in
seen
there
that
yet.
That's the next step.
Yeah. So, what about the other two categories? The gals.
Yeah. Really not a lot of all women's teams, a lot of mixed teams.
There's a ton of mixed
yes,
teams.
but not a lot. Only 3 or 4 all women teams. this year.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Out of
unusual.
100 canoes.
Yes,
Wow.
but again, like Jerry said, many mixed teams. I don't
There's
have
like-
the official number yet. I'll
Well,
have
I
them
think it's like
tomorrow.
40.
There's a lot,
There's
yes.
right around 40, 41 mixed teams
We
this
got
year.
3 or 4 15-year-olds this year. So I mean, we've got some youth. We've got a lot of inexperience. So that's the good thing about this race. A lot of new
The
blood
grown
coming.
paddlers. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Who's
That's
Lynn
a
Whitty
good
paddling
sign.
with this year?
Oh, who is it? She sprinted already. Let me double check here. I've had to remember so many names and numbers and.
It's somebody very well known, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, she's here. I'm gonna check it
So,
out.
JC,
here.
are you going to Rich's party tomorrow?
When I saw this, I'm like, you and I are doing the broadcast. He could just go ahead and lollygag around,
He's
you know.
got to entertain his
That's
fans,
right.
basically.
The 422 people he's brought to the race.
Well,
Yeah.
I got to admit, JC, that I asked for a few passes myself. And I'll tell you what my favorite thing about this race has been in recent years, doing this show with you on,
Yeah.
on all these years, is getting people who have never seen this
Right.
race before.
Mhm.
And I got 3 or 4 of them coming today, never seen this race before, because I talk about it a lot.
Oh, no
It's
doubt.
one of my
Yeah.
favorite events. And
I got to check in with Paul.
to look
Yes.
look at the people's faces after they've seen this
Oh,
thing for
I
the
know.
first time.
Yeah.
It's like, my God.
Well, the funny thing is that, you know, I've spent 10 years now trying to explain this to people, and it.
You
And,
have to
and,
see
well,
it.
and people usually say the same thing. Wow, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I'll come.
Yeah.
And then they're like, holy bleep.
Can I come again?
Yeah.
Can I come again?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask Rich.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're invited. Go ahead. No, but it is. That's exactly right, Keith. Is seeing the new people for the first time and just the sheer excitement on
The
their,
look on their
yeah.
faces after the last paddler's gone, it's stunning.
Yeah,
You
no doubt.
can't explain it to people. You have to see it.
No Lynn Whitty.
No Lynn Whitty. I cannot find her
Oh, my
on my
goodness.
list here. Now, she sprinted yesterday. I saw it with my own eyes
Yeah.
here.
We'll find it in
Yeah.
a second or two. The
There it is. Wade Binion is who she, a Texan. They're sitting right now in 46th place with they had a sprint of 6 minutes and 21 seconds, better than last year. So not doing bad.
Yeah, Lynn is the most experienced female
Oh, my
paddler in the
gosh.
race. What is she's in?
She's raced the most races of anybody in it. Bill Taranjo is nipping on her heels.
Yeah.
So because Bill's been doing it since 1980, I believe 84.
Wow.
Since '84, Bill Taranjo. So Lynn Whitty,
That's 40
again,
years.
just crazy amounts of numbers
Yeah.
on what she's like 40 some races. I
Yeah,
believe.
no, it's you know, a testament to how this gets into some people's systems, and then just, I guess, when you've done it that long, and you know, and then you see. Let me finish my thought. When I guess you do it that long, it just becomes part of your schedule, right?
Yeah,
Okay, it's
absolutely.
time for me to start really getting serious about the race.
And she was a teacher before she retired, so that helped her schedule, having
Yep.
the summers off,
Right.
would train, and then she's a dog sled musher in the wintertime.
Right.
So it kind of, does some things like that to help keep her in shape, and so
She's in shape. We've had Lynn in here before in the past. We had her in 5 or 6 years ago. Great gal.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that you think there's only 3 teams that can contend for the race.
Well, there's probably 10 to 15 that can actually win the race. I think there's 2 to 3 at the high end.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen. We've seen good teams have to drop out in the past because of injury.
You're getting clunked on the head with a canoe.
You get hit in the head with a canoe at the start,
Yeah.
and you later, you
Still,
get concussed.
Especially with the water that low, it's going to be chaos.
It is.
And the worry that we always have is the entry into the water.
To that water, that distance between that new dock there at the old DeSable Fly Shop and the water level.
And you have so many people entering the water at different areas now because it used to be the theory is you went as far to the checkerboard and got in.
Right.
But that is such a gangbang that you got people jumping in as soon as they can get into the river.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. They feel safety in the water. Once you're in the water, they get to that far right side to get away from the mass of humanity.
And paddle past the
The chaos. Yeah.
Because
No.
again, there's just a couple of bends down the river. There's the sides of the river are lined with wood along both canoe liveries, and it's kind of a washboard effect where the water doesn't dissipate into the ground or the sides.
So the water comes.
It ends up bouncing back at you. Right. So you have I've seen canoes turn sideways right there.
Yeah.
Purely because you have no control over your canoe when there's like 10 boats there at the same time. It's the craziest. It just creates this like vortex. You know, it's wild. It's just wild.
Who was it? What one of the teams that we thought would win last year were so far behind.
Brett Stockton was one of the teams that you find at Mayo Dam. They have a 3-foot rip in their brand new $5,000 canoe.
Oh my God!
And they hit a fish hide. And it ripped with that carbon fiber stuff.
Yeah.
They put some of that Flex Seal tape on it, and they were able to finish the race.
Wow.
But it wasn't the same.
It might have not. There was one of the teams that we had projected to be at the finish, and then they didn't even show up at the first couple of dams. I started looking on, so I thought there was an injury. I wish I could remember what team it was now. They ended up getting into the top 10. Okay. I mean, they paddled their asses off, but they had a miserable start because they get caught behind, some teams and.
Yeah, that narrow river, you get caught behind some teams, you don't get the run in that you think you're going to get. Or, again, what happens in front of you, a couple of canoes get together, someone flips in front of you, then you're stuck right there in that little narrow river.
Oh, we've seen plenty.
Nowhere to go.
We've seen plenty of that with the canoes getting into the water. And one of the better teams last year had a lot of problems getting their canoe upright because people are bumping into you. I mean, it's just like...
It's just not flipping over by
Get
yourself.
the hell away from me. I would be in there swinging my paddle like it's the...
They're not very polite.
No, they're not.
There's no excuse me's being uttered.
No, that's at the start. But if there's trouble along the way, somebody goes down, canoes stop, and they help one another.
Absolutely.
They're committed to getting as many people finishing as they can.
Yeah. It's not even controlled chaos. Getting into the water.
It's totally out of control.
Yeah, it really is.
That's
and,
what
that's why we've had that argument about moving the checkerboard and the entry into the race far
to give them more space
to the end of the dock.
Yeah.
Okay, I still don't understand that thought process. When they're cutting off 12 feet of entry.
You're right.
I do not understand why what that theory is.
Completely agree.
Yep. That especially when now that 2 years in a row we're at 100 teams plus, and so
I know it's been debated. I know the committee's debated about staggered starts. They don't have to stagger the start if they give another. When you think about it, the extra 12 or 15 feet that they're cutting off by moving the checkerboard there, that's what? Another 8 teams going in at the same time.
Yeah.
So, that's just, one. having never paddled the race, but seen that.
Seeing it every year since you've been here and realizing, look, yeah, it's probably best that they stretch
Well, let's put it
that
this
out.
way, Rich. I think there was less than 80 teams when we
Yeah,
first took
the
over
10
the radio
plus years
stations.
ago, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's an explosion.
It is.
That's what, 25% more paddlers.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to the race.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll start getting more prize money.
Maybe.
Yeah, a lot more
That's
paddlers.
the other thing that's kind of that's always been surprising to me, is how hard this race is and how little financial reward there is.
Yeah, what is it, like $6,000, I believe, is?
Split.
Yeah, you split that. That's right. That's divided. Yeah, this is from my last year's notes. First prize is $6,000. Second is $4,000. Third is $2,900. So yeah, I mean that would be nice to maybe double that prize money. That
Yeah.
would be a real coup at some point. To
Yeah, I don't know
add
what
to that.
Wes and the top paddlers are charging for sponsorships of the canoes.
Right.
Probably about $500, $600.
I could see that. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you were a top team, supply and demand.
Yeah.
They pay down to 15th place. The 15th per canoe gets $250. You're right. You're right. It should be.
I don't understand it. I mean, I kudos to the paddlers that it doesn't obviously
do it for
doesn't
the
mean
money.
no,
They don't
nobody's
do it
doing it for money.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope.
There's very few things in sports that aren't done for money.
Yeah.
I mean, like guys holding out. Brandon Ayuk is going to hold out for. He's getting paid $17.4 million this year, and he wants double the money.
Because he has seen what the other receivers have
Yeah.
gotten this offseason, and he wants the bag.
So $17.4 million. That's, to me, is kind of significant
Yeah,
money.
pretty good.
That's a fair sum. Yeah, for sure.
So,
This is my 30th year.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't missed a race in 30 years. When I first started watching this race, the total prize package was $50,000. Now it's 55. 30 years later, it's 55.
It's only increased only
Wait,
five.
you know, the sponsors got to come up with a little bit more.
well, I don't know
juice.
what, I know it's a significant investment that consumers' energy.
For sure.
But, obviously that money's not going to the racers.
No, that's
I
right.
mean, I know that there's a lot of infrastructure in the race that they have to spend money on, and the committee does not get paid to do it.
No, it's all
I was
volunteer.
on the committee
Yes.
for 3 years, and they didn't even pay me to drive down to West Branch because the meetings are always in West Branch because it's halfway between Oscoda
right.
and Grayling.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, I even had to buy my meals and my beers.
Oh yeah. It's going to be.
I've been in some charity 501c3s
Oh,
where
yes.
everything is covered.
Yeah.
Including our yearly committee meeting in the Bahamas.
Yes.
And those.
Yes.
Well, that's not a bad place.
No,
not a bad
that's-
location.
That's
for-
that's the story about Wounded Warriors.
Yeah.
Only
That-
20% of the money
it's-
that is raised by Wounded Warriors goes to actual veterans.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so there's actually a website that
I know.
tells you.
I go there a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't
before I
give
remember what
money
the name of the
away.
website is, but it tells you exactly what
The
how much money that is raised actually goes to the charity that it represents.
Right.
And
Okay.
hey, I know guys. I knew a gentleman who ran the largest Jewish charity that used to send all these kids over for kibbutzes and everything else, and he would. Steven Spielberg and all these very,
Right,
very
sure.
famous entertainers who are Jewish would give them millions of dollars. And he was very well paid, but he was making six figures.
Yeah.
But he was generating $200-300 million a year
Uh-huh.
in donations. So you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
But when 80% of what you're generating is going to committee members and all this other stuff.
Administrative fees,
And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
there's something more than fishy there,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
No
and I don't know,
question.
and I don't know how those charities retain their 501c3 status when at least 50% of what's being raised is not going to the charity. So
certainly agree.
but
Yeah.
anyways, that's neither here nor there. I don't think if you increased the amount of the prize money, if you doubled it, I don't think you're going to see any more people getting into the race.
Yeah, probably not.
You know?
Yeah, because it's not about the money, so
No.
it's just right. But it would be nice to reward. They have come up with something the past few years too about the bonus money. Each person leading at the timing location
Yeah.
is extra $50.
Right.
If you break the record, it's an extra $1,000. And again, it's not a ton of money overall, but they come up with unique things.
What do they get for the Dash for Cash? Is $500 for first place. That's why less and less teams are doing that Dash for Cash race now.
Chris, the person that won it is someone that's not even in the race. Christoph Prue came down from Canada, is not racing in the marathon, but he jumped in with someone else, and they won the Dash for Cash.
Well, at least I paid for his trip down.
Exactly. He likes them, you Americans. Yeah, for sure.
By the way, kudos to Eric Camp and the Houghton Lake Resort. They bought the Avalanche.
They did, yes.
And this is the best spectator guide I've seen ever. This is really, really good. He's got a whole new crew
Very
doing
well
this thing.
done.
It's
And
extremely
also,
well
and they
done.
got it out pretty early.
They
Yep.
did.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kudos to them. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's been out for almost a month now,
Yeah.
I think. So,
I mean,
yeah.
I know it doesn't have all the teams in it, but it has
It's
most
got
of the
103 teams in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
most of the
they did a good
but
job.
there were a couple of Chris Isendorf was a late ad this year. He's going with Bill Taranjo this year.
Mhm.
So
I like Chris. He's
yeah,
a good guy.
Yep.
That's the other thing. Very briefly, we're going to head to break. Most of these paddlers are just the nicest, beautiful people in the
Great
world.
people, Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we were talking about Chris and Darren especially.
Yeah.
You know, Darren McCarty is a fighter.
Yes.
And the same thing with Bob Probert. Two of the nicest guys in the world.
Joey Koser.
Joey's got some problems. I've had drinks with Joey. I've been on the golf course with Joey.
yeah.
I've seen him lose his temper. I never saw Bob Probert or Darren McCarty, if they're not on the ice,
You're
lose
right
their
about
temper.
that. You're right about that. I get that.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything bad about Joey. I've got a temper, but I didn't used to beat the hell out of guys, on the ice either.
Yeah.
And I always figured that, that was their release point. Like
Yeah.
I'm good. But when they who was the paddler that died 2 years ago on Lake Michigan?
Nick Walton.
Nick Walton, yeah. So at his memorial, that was probably the biggest collection of paddlers
Yes.
that I had been with, and a lot of them, came over to me. Hey, thanks for what you guys do for the race, and just sweethearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other cool thing about this. We've had Westing, we've had a lot of paddlers,
Oh,
and
yeah.
all of them
Jeff
are.
Coca.
They're just
they're salt of the earth.
Exactly, salt of the earth, and that probably is part of the reason why they don't give a crap about the money.
Yeah.
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 When we come back, we'll continue our discussion about what about them Tigers. All that. We got Lions training camp, which of course Keith and I can leave the room and we'll have Rich pontificate again. Lots going on in sports, and we'll touch on all of it here on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. It's time for Destination MLB. Jerry Coyne and Kevin Klein from Cherry Capital Airport talking about.
It's time to fly. Start your next comfortable, convenient journey from Northern Michigan's hometown airport, Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City. TVC makes your trip easier with affordable terminal-adjacent parking and all the friendly airport services without all the crowds. Fly from Cherry Capital Airport to your dream destination on Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United. Visit tvcairport.com and fly with TVC. Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination, a place to breathe in the lapping waves of Torch Lake and explore the tree-lined trails of northern Michigan. A place to connect with nature and each other, one-on-one, in the waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. When you're looking to escape the everyday, breathe in the magic of northern Michigan at Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
Archie's Social House is excited to announce our summer dinner service in addition to our full bar. Check our website at archiesfresh.com for our expanded summer hours. We personally guarantee your dining experience to be excellent. Visit us soon at Archie's at 237 Lake Ave, Traverse City.
Vote in the Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best Reader's Choice Contest for 2024. Help your favorite businesses, organizations, and professionals in Northern Michigan earn their well-deserved recognition as Simply the Best. Vote every day through July 31st. Winners announced via our virtual award ceremony on the Record Eagles page on Facebook at 7 p.m. September 25th and in our special Simply the Best winners publication that day. Enter now at record-eagle.com/simplythebest.
Join Up North Sports Radio celebrating Grayling at the Osabo River Festival, July 20th through the 27th.
Live broadcast brought to you in part by North Central Area Credit Union.
For a Riverfest event calendar, go to upnorthsportsradio.com. WGRY.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio. Jerry Coyne on the phone with Kevin Klein from Cherry Capital Everett. Kevin, how are you?
I am great. What a wonderful week we've had.
What do you? I mean, first and foremost, at the airport, you guys are the epicenter of weather, and it can't get any better.
Yeah, it's that Chamber of Commerce weekend here coming up, and we've had great weather, great things happening, and hey, it attributes to our Tigers. At least we had a winning week.
We had a winning week on the road.
Yeah,
they are well. They now have a plus 500 record on the road.
Hey, that is a tribute to the fans traveling and going to see them.
Yep.
And rooting them on. So we got to contribute to that. We got to make it happen more. And that San Francisco trip's coming up here, August 9th, still $385. That's an awesome.
That is nutty. And they also have the A's coming up later on in the schedule as well, and you take the same
when you
same
look
flight.
At the A's being in September, it's $288.
And I, as a ex-citizen of San Francisco, September is the best month to be in the city. So go see an A's game, go to Fisherman's Wharf, have some clams, have some wine in Napa Valley. It's one of the best places to visit on the face of the earth.
And prior to that, you're in that long series in Chicago with both the Cubs and the White Sox. That's $257.
That's incredibly cheap for Chicago.
Prices.
Yeah.
And then looking way out towards almost the end of the season, they play out in Baltimore. That week of September 20th there, and that's only $248.
Well. Did you look at they're also playing in what is that? No, that's Colorado. It's at Colorado. Okay. Excuse me. That's home versus Colorado.
Home yeah. So we've got some great away series, great prices coming up. And so there was a little teaser on Detroit's website this morning when I was looking at the schedule.
Uh-huh.
They open in L.A. in 2025.
The Tigers.
The Tigers do.
Wow.
March 2025.
Well, don't get too far ahead of us, Kevin. We have to start talking about.
And I'm thinking, let's go to LA spring break.
Well, you do have one other trip in September, right around Labor Day. They're in San Diego.
Well, they're in San Diego, and that's running around $600, a little higher price, but San Diego in September. What is it going to be? 72 degrees every day?
Yeah.
Come on, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. So, I'm just proud of the Tigers this week. They're starting to get the bats going. I mean, what we see an Into Park home run this week. We saw all kinds of fun things.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about Javi Baez. So you want to go to what is the website, Kevin?
That's tvcairport.com.
Thank you for Destination MLB, soon to be Destination NFL. Thanks, Kev.
Thank you.
All right. There you go, fellas. Tigers road tripping all over the place.
That they are. They're not afraid to play on the road. They're playing, like you said, really well.
They have a plus 500 record on the road.
And when they're playing at home, they're starting to draw more than flies.
Oh no.
They've had
No.
Well, I mean the Dodgers, of course, with
that was
42,000.
That was pretty special.
That was cool
I
to see.
gotta tell you, I felt like I gave up on the Tigers when
Right.
they couldn't hit their way out of it.
Oh, exactly.
They were hard to watch.
It was.
Hard to listen to as much as I enjoyed Dan Dickerson.
Yeah.
And the two guys, Bobby Scales and the other play-by-play
Dan Dickerson.
Dan Dickerson with Bobby Scales and
Andy Dirks.
Andy Dirks they both do a really good job.
Yeah, I agree.
They were hard to listen to when they couldn't hit. Then Dodgers come to town. All those people come to town. They win the one game. They come back.
Well, they should have swept the Dodgers.
They should have swept.
yes.
But they had the 5-run comeback and the walk-off home run, and the next day they win it on a bunt walk-off.
Yeah. No, as we talked about off air, the improvement of Colt Keith, Justin Henry Malloy, and Wences Perez has really lifted this team's batting average.
Yep.
It's good to see kids coming up from the farm system that you really didn't expect to see much of. I mean, they took a flyer on Keith. They signed him to a pretty big deal for a guy that never had an at-bat.
Right.
And it looked like it had backfired on them, but not anymore. There's talk about him. He's the third now a betting favorite to win American League Rookie of the Year.
Seriously.
How about that?
After that,
Seriously.
those first couple of months.
He
like
was
you-
batting 128 through May.
Oh,
No,
brutal,
but he's up to. I think he's up to 275. He's been great. His defense is really good.
Yeah.
And like I told you guys off air, I just have a really funny feeling that Baez, the home run that he hit yesterday, he hit 3 great balls yesterday. He got robbed on one of them, and Hinch has said the same thing. He's been saying this all along, and AJ is relentlessly positive.
He is.
I don't think you get anywhere in baseball doing.
Oh, the old school, get on them all the. Oh,
Yeah.
Not today, you wouldn't.
But if Baez can get to anywhere near what he was at the plate with the Cubs, that's going to make a huge difference to this team. And now we're at this pivotal point, Keith. Trade deadline.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to trade Flaherty now. I think it's impossible. There's no way they're trading Skubal.
I hope you're right. It's demoralizing to see these pitchers get developed and players too, and get traded away in this rebuild that's lasted 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's frustrating as heck. And now they're 2 games back. They're 5.5 games back from the wild card. I don't expect that to happen. But I don't care if they're buyers. I just don't want them to be sellers.
Yeah. It's just, it's so tough. What do you do because of the injuries to the pitching staff? With Reese Olson recently, with the strained shoulder, and that's always concerning, of course.
Right.
With Mize not back quite yet. Should be able to go on a rehab assignment real soon here, I would assume. But yeah, they've got injuries to their. I mean, we in the last 4 games we've had 2 bullpen days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they
Pretty
usually
good
do
ones.
pretty
One
well
was-
when
one
they
was a
do it.
shutout.
I mean, it's pretty crazy how AJ Hinch pulls these strings and really gets the most out of his players.
So JC, do you buy or sell?
Well, I think you almost have to trade Flaherty.
Yeah.
It's either that or you got to sign him to a 3-year, $60 million deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only 28, so he's right there.
Yeah.
Right.
And as I talked to Rich last week, your buddy Lynn Henning pointed out the fact that, the Tigers are really good at rehabbing pitchers, but when they leave, they fall apart again. Lorenzen hasn't done crap since he pitched a no-hitter when he got to the Phillies, and since then he's down at the Rangers, and the Rangers just DFA'd him.
Yeah, that magic dust that Chris Federer uses on these veteran pitchers to get the most out of them. Maybe they feel they can do that like every year. they can. I mean, maybe you kind of they kind of rely on that because it's been pretty darn good the last couple of years.
Flaherty is
Oh,
a bitch.
yeah.
And who's the other kid that's come out of nowhere? The third starter.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
wildly inconsistent. What the hell's his name?
Yeah, what is his name? Montero, something like that.
He reminds me of Scherzer when Scherzer first got to Detroit. Really great pitcher, but not consistent.
Right.
He gives up a few home runs.
Kiter Montero.
Kiter Montero, yeah. But he's got a dynamite slider. His biggest problem is he hangs some of those sliders and he hangs his curveball.
You hang it, they bang it.
That's right, and that's been his downfall. Yeah. But he's also he's got really good stuff, and he's been a godsend really because he eats innings.
Hey, that's exactly what they need to rest that bullpen at times because they're utilized so much. You mentioned your buddy Scherzer there. You see, you just passed Justin Verlander last night.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah.
We'll see how long
they're going to yo-yo back and forth for sure. For 10th all time in the strikeout list, and we had two of them on the staff.
Wouldn't it be nice
at the
to have
same
the
time.
Tigers could get a guy like that?
Hey, the Tigers tried to keep him.
Yeah, I know.
Do we want
That was-
to revisit this?
Let's-
Do
no,
we
let's
want to
it
talk
was a
about
fair
Ready
off.
for the JC rant again.
$148 million? Not enough.
Yep.
I want my
want more.
170.
Yeah.
I still hate the fact that he won a World Series.
He wants more.
And as soon as he did, he was out of Washington.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't. Going back to the disparity about what did they? The Mets signed him to what a 2-year, $80 million contract.
And he did, yeah. And
Wasn't enough.
right.
There's not enough.
Who's the better team in New York right now? Mets or the Yankees? Mets
Oh,
are
here you
playing
go.
better ball.
How about a rant, Keith?
Yankees are playing so well right now.
Yeah.
Much to your
That's the
delight.
reason why I'm almost certain Flaherty's not sticking is because there's so many contenders that need a starter.
Right.
You know, so his value will never be higher.
Yep, exactly.
And and that's what nationally. I heard this conversation, Rich, last week about
Right.
Scooble, and the only team, and Henning wrote about it, and I've heard it, so other people are regurgitating it. The only team the Tigers could possibly trade Scooble to would be Baltimore because they have the number one shortstop prospect,
Yes.
and you
Holiday.
can't get into the lineup because of Gunnar Henderson.
And they have,
Yeah,
they have
Henderson.
3 great prospects, and you want them all.
Yeah,
Scooble.
yeah, you got to get that and blow your mind deal.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
It would take care of the left side of the infield for the future. You get, I mean, not knowing what
But
Javi Baez
even
is.
then, like we said, we had this conversation
Yeah.
last week. You're still going to think John Smoltz.
Right. No question. That's right.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, man.
But to put yourself in Baltimore's shoes. You could get him for 3 postseasons.
There's no.
That's a long time to trade for a guy, and have him under control for 3 postseasons.
Well, that's why you get the haul that you
Yes,
get. This
absolutely.
is, this is one of those few times. I mean, who would trade a Cy Young Award winner in the middle of the season? The Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
What other team would do this?
But again, you keep them. You hope then in the off season we spend some money. We do some things to add to this group, this younger group that we have.
Well, I mean,
Similar to what we
look
wanted
at the
Faceoff.
what do they have? 5 of the top 100 prospects in minor league baseball.
A couple of guys got moved up to Grand Rapids. There to see at the.
The
Whitecaps.
only thing at issue at all, as far as the Tigers and the farm system is concerned, nobody's really playing well in Toledo.
Right. That's
No.
right.
Dylan
the
Dingler. He's over 300, and he's.
Well, that's why they think
he's hit-
Rogers will get traded as
16
well.
home runs.
Yeah.
He's finally come through the Ohio State product there. He's
Yeah.
the kid that finally has gotten to the point
Yeah.
where they.
So
really
those are
want-
the 2 guys that are probably leaving, is Flaherty and Rogers. But, I mean, if they do trade Scooble, be prepared for an onslaught of And then, plus, then you're giving up on the season. Where the Tigers are at? What are they? Four and a half out of 5.5 out of the second wild card.
Mm-hmm.
They have the best record in baseball, or tied for the best record in baseball in July.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it, I don't see the bats sliding back the other way. I think this is the natural progression of this team. And even if you do trade Jake Rogers, you're not losing somebody in that hitting lineup.
Right. But the concern there is the injury to Reese Olson. Where is that going to fall in the ranking?
They say 3 weeks.
Because Manning is injured at AAA, so he can't bring him up to pitch anymore.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, so it's like really we're at this point that what do? You truly are in a state of flux.
Well, but they still won 2 out of 4 from Cleveland when they when Olsen only pitched an inning at 2 innings. So, yeah, it's a puzzler. But that's what Scott Harris, the new brain trust of the Tigers, is being paid to do. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I would do is call Brad Holmes. Brad, what do I do? Exactly. I'm not calling Iserman. I'm calling Brad Holmes.
Right.
You're right about that.
Everything you do, Brad, has turned out pretty good.
Trajan Langdon is not on speed dial.
Yep, you're right about that.
When we return here on Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, we'll talk some Lions, talk some golf, talk some Olympics, and maybe even something else.
We're talking Red Wings, too.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. No Pistons talk today. Back after these on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by TVCAirport.com.
Sports on the Michigan News Network.
Another one-run loss for the Tigers. Their third in the last 4 games. They fell in Cleveland 2-1 after only putting up 2 total hits against the Guardians. The go-ahead run was scratched across in the 8th inning as Detroit fell to 50-53. It'll be an afternoon finale in Cleveland as the Tigers try to split the road series.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan Sports Dog Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. But we do want to do a quick note for our good friends at Shanty Creek. They have a new Labor Day weekend special that you can book right now at play all 90 holes at Shanty Creek for only $90 when you stay 3 nights anytime between August 25th and September 4th. Unbelievable. $90 is less than it would cost to play one of the courses at Shanty Creek, and you can play all 5. The great Weiskopf, Cedar River, Hawkeye, Arnold Palmer's, The Legend, Shush Mountain, and Summit Golf. All together, these 5 courses make up a great few days of golf. All of them beautiful, all of them completely beautifully maintained. And, of course, if you're staying there for a few days, you've got the Rich Calkins Memorial Prime Rib Buffet and the breakfast buffets. Make sure you call the reservations office right away because this deal is not going to last. And what a great time to get away to Shanty Creek just before Labor Day and Labor Day weekend. So thank you for that note there. Speaking of golf, I don't know if you guys watched any of the Open Championship.
I did.
How great was Xander Schauffele? Unbelievable.
Just steady.
How tough is that golf course?
Oh my gosh!
On Saturday,
that was so fun. That was great theater.
You know, I love watching golf no matter what, but it's fun to watch when they have those kind of conditions and all the best players in the world are struggling mightily.
That's right.
And you see a lot of it. And
they become so relatable at that time.
It really does. You know, as a golfer, it is completely relatable, especially on those Scottish links where the ball will just take the funniest hop. And And a lot of people think it's, like, well, that's not fair. Well, golf isn't fair.
That's right.
Okay, most sports aren't fair, but golf is the unfairest of of all sports. But then to see a player like Xander Schauffele rise through all this chaos to play just a beautiful round of golf, birdieing that 11th hole on Sunday that, was playing almost 2 strokes over par. Guys were happy to get out of there with a bogey. Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Sam Burns all hit it OB on that hole. I mean, it's, I can hit it OB.
Right.
I have.
And to win his second major this year.
Yeah, it's now put, we talk about this further in depth on Finding Fairways either tomorrow or Sunday at 9 o'clock, or you can watch it on our Facebook page, like you can watch our ugly mugs right now. On upnorthsportsradio.com and our Facebook page. But, that golf course is brutal. And the Senior Open is going on right now at Carnoustie, which they... Carnoustie. That is where Tiger Woods shot his worst round of golf ever. Is at Carnoustie. And the seniors aren't having a lot of fun. And it's not even blowing that hard.
Speaking of Tiger Woods, he was in Oakland Hills
He was at Oakland Hills,
Charlie.
Yep.
Chris Draper actually said he walked a couple of holes watching Charlie play.
There was a big crowd following Charlie Woods around.
He
didn't play very well, but I played Oakland Hills about 12 days ago. And I played the North Course. Now, I've played both of those courses over 100 times. The North Course was playing as hard as I had ever seen it or played it myself. The rough was so bad, I was playing with a couple other good guys. It was a half-stroke penalty. You could not get the ball out of the rough to the green.
And is it the South Course supposed to be the tougher of the two?
They can get the North Course playing. A lot of members think the North Course is equally as tough because the greens on the North Course are very much harder to read than the South Course. Okay. South Course is, famous for its tournament. It's a much longer course, but the greens, it's so hard to putt the North Course. And normally when you see the amateurs and the junior amateur, the scoring between the North Course and the South Course is not different.
So you see some serious construction going on there.
Well, they're rebuilding the clubhouse.
You see it all from Maple Road there. It looks pretty impressive.
Well, they are going from, I think, an 86,000 square foot clubhouse to 110,000 square foot clubhouse that is going to resemble quite accurately what the old clubhouse was like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for they're adding some more buildings on, and I mean it's unbelievable. Obviously, it's a very wealthy golf club. It costs over $100,000 to be a member. I know half the membership. So they are not sparing any expense, but they also, there's a lot of insurance money. There's always still some lawsuits going on about it. But you should see like the temporary stuff that they put up, the tents and everything else. They don't feel like tents.
Yeah. I'll bet.
It's a nice place. I'm very gratified to have been a part of that course as a caddy, as a starter. Cheryl and I's wedding reception was on the 18th fairway. It's really cool. But
that is very cool.
Yeah, kudos to Charlie Woods. The kid's only 15.
Yes.
The famous story that Tiger's dad used to throw things at him, to get him ready for the pressure of golf. Tiger's doing it in different ways. I'm going to come to a golf tournament, and my son's going to be followed by, 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And, I think it's going to serve Charlie quite well. I don't think this is the last we've ever heard of Charlie Woods.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. He didn't play his best, but again, like you said, he's 15 years old. I mean, he's playing against 18-year-old kids.
Yeah, that's the oldest you can be at the junior amateur.
And from 15,
but the other
there's
kid,
a lot of maturity.
There's a 15-year-old kid. I don't know if he made it through yesterday, who played in the Corn Ferry Tour as a 15-year-old.
I saw
finished in the top 10. Played at the Rocket Mortgage. As a 15-year-old.
Yes.
Didn't make the cut. I think his name is Matt something or other. He made it into match play. I don't know how he did. So
just to make it into the last couple of days is pretty amazing as a 15-year-old.
Isaiah Williams' name came up in the report yesterday.
Your
The-
dark horse receiver.
The undrafted free agent wide receiver out of Illinois.
Right.
Who the Lions signed a contract of $225,000.
Oh, they did.
That's
okay.
a lot of money for an undrafted free agent.
Yes.
I hope he can make the squad. This is the kid who was the leading receiver in the Big Ten, more than what's his name out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
When it was the Big 14, now it's the Big 18.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But the kicking competition has lost one.
I saw that. I heard Bagley is out.
He is. Bagley tore his hamstring, I believe.
Yeah, he's out for the year already. So good.
So
good
Bates.
They signed,
so
good
Norman Bates is going to be kicking probably this year. So
64 yarders for the Michigan Panthers.
Oh yeah. There's no question about the strength.
If he can be consistent from that length, it's going to change a little bit about going for it on 4th and 8.
Totally agree. See, I totally agree.
You're right about that.
If he gets a consistent kicker from long range, it'll change the way Dan Campbell calls some of those plays.
That and how improved is this defense going to be?
If everyone start with Reeder and Davenport and the DBs, Carlton Davis as a DB and the rookies, I think it'll be vastly
That's what he said in his news conference yesterday, to have competition for playing time in the defensive backfield is a luxury.
Because we assigned that Amik Robertson, a DB from Oakland or Las Vegas, the Raiders. So we've got there's actually, like you said, Keith, there's depth at the DB position now. Keep it
there's
rolling.
Depth in the Big Ten. Your Spartans are what,
like
13 out of
no, they're farther down than that.
16 out of 18 as far as
yeah.
So that's good for them. We'll find out for sure when we talk to George Blaha tomorrow.
George is going to have him in the
top 5.
And
I got him in the playoffs.
Playoffs, Top 3 in the league. Top 3.
And I won't. I don't think George is listening. But the one thing that George got totally wrong was how he was comparing our Mel Tucker to Nick Saban. So he got that one a little.
Bless his heart. Yeah.
Right.
Nobody could have predicted.
Who know? Yeah, you really don't know what goes on behind closed doors, right?
It turns out Mel Tucker was a pretty good football coach. He had some success here and blew up on him.
Yeah, he had one good year. He figured out the transfer portal before just about everybody else.
That's right.
You know, the one thing, guys, I love these teams in the Big Ten. Because I'm already getting my replacement for us. For our sports show for the Texas game, the USC game, the Oregon game, and the Michigan State game. Unless Michigan really has a poor start, and, and which is possible.
Oh, because you got Texas game 2.
But the easy schedule that Michigan had last year, Ohio State has this year. Yeah. They have a vastly easier schedule than Michigan does.
Oh, yeah.
And Oregon does. Mm-hmm. Penn State doesn't play anybody.
Right.
The only team that Penn State plays is Ohio State. They're playing almost all the old Western Conference teams.
I think
so. You're going to get a much more capricious schedule that like you knew that Michigan was going to have to at least play Penn State and Ohio State and Michigan State. Right. Now Michigan State and Ohio State are never going off Michigan's schedule, and I don't know how long it'll be before Michigan State is a competent foe for the Wolverines again. But that Michigan and Ohio State are the only teams that have a built-in rivalry, I think. I mean, you got
in the Big Ten there.
That's going to stay forever. That'll stay at the very last game of the year. And it kind of handicaps the both of them.
Yeah, it does.
Now, I believe I
think UCLA and USC are going to keep their rivalry game.
As they should.
And I believe Oregon and Washington will keep their rivalry game.
I think Ohio State travels to Oregon.
They do.
That's their that's their hardest game.
And they play Penn State.
And they play Penn
State. Those are their three. And I don't understand. They got Penn State ranked ahead of Michigan.
Yes, they do.
BS. Franklin's going to have to show me something. Yeah.
The morning shows are talking about it. They're saying,
I'm just saying, hey, good for you. My team looks good on paper. And, you know, Ohio State's team looks good on paper. I think the best thing Ohio State's got going for them is Chip Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Calling the plays now and, taking the play calling away from Day. So that's.
Well, he gave it up. Chip Kelly, by all accounts, they're very close friends. When Chip Kelly was, before he went to the NFL, where he was at Oregon, Day worked for him.
Yes, he did.
And they're very close friends. And by all accounts, Chip Kelly called him and said, I want to go back to just calling.
I don't want to be a head coach anymore.
I do not want to be a head coach anymore.
I don't
want.
want.
He left UCLA in a lurch.
You recruit him and I'll play him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he just wanted no part of that, being a head coach anymore.
Interesting.
It was.
It is.
Well,
look at assistants are making $1 million in college football.
Man, they sure are. Yep.
You know, Chip Kelly could probably live in $1 million.
Yeah. The NIL, it just like it got to. He's just like, I'm out. I just can't deal with it.
But you know, and on top of the fact that Michigan's one of their non-conference opponents is Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And that is at the Big House, right? That's
the cheapest ticket you can get right now for the Michigan-Texas game is $400 on the secondary market.
Wow.
How many people are going to come up from Texas to see the Big House?
A lot.
Yeah, early in the season.
You know that.
Yeah.
How many times when you were writing in Texas did people that? Well, I heard you got a pretty damn big football stadium there. What the hell's going on there, Kate?
Yeah. Exactly. They're a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
A little bit jealous.
I can't believe you get 118,000 people in that stadium.
That's right.
I'm going to have to see that for myself.
Now they will.
You ain't got no horns on that stadium.
There'll be a lot of burnt orange in it.
Yeah, there will.
I don't know about that. This last year, you didn't see nearly as many as Ohio State, Scarlet and Gray, and that's
true.
It used to piss me off.
I know.
Guys selling their tickets. They didn't sell them last year.
Yeah.
We'll see if what the Sharon Moore factor is
Exactly.
like. Back after these words from our fine partners, we got a little Red Wing action, a little Olympics updates here on Up North Sports Radio on Friday Faceoff, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination, a place to breathe in the lapping waves of Torch Lake and explore the tree-lined trails of northern Michigan. A place to connect with nature and each other, one-on-one, in the waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. When you're looking to escape the everyday, breathe in the magic of northern Michigan at Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
It's time to fly. Start your next comfortable, convenient journey from Northern Michigan's hometown airport, Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City. TVC makes your trip easier with affordable terminal-adjacent parking and all the friendly airport services without all the crowds. Fly from Cherry Capital Airport to your dream destination on Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United. Visit tvcairport.com and fly with TVC. Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City.
Vote in the Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best Reader's Choice Contest for 2024. Help your favorite businesses, organizations, and professionals in Northern Michigan earn their well-deserved recognition as Simply the Best. Vote every day through July 31st. Winners announced via our virtual award ceremony on the Record Eagles page on Facebook at 7 p.m. September 25th and in our special Simply the Best winners publication that day. Enter now at record-eagle.com/simplythebest.
Making history in Grayling, our first ever used car clearance event is on now at Matt LaFontaine Automotive. We closed the doors for 4 days to prepare for this event. Everything has been tagged with below market prices. Everything must go by 7/31 to make room for our massive new car shipments in August. Over 100 units available with great payment and financing options for everyone. Pick out your next vehicle 24 hours a day at mattlafontaine.com or call us for your personalized appointment today.
Before you dig in Michigan or put a shovel in the ground, you gotta call Miss Dig 811. They'll have the pros look around. Before you dig that garden in the sun, keep yourself safe, dial 811. It's a law that keeps you safe and your project sound from all of the dangers that are hidden underground. Keep your digging in Michigan safe and fun. Call Miss Dig 811. Keep digging in Michigan safe and fun. Call Miss Dig 811. Sponsored by Miss Dig 811 and the MAB.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. Keith Gave is joining Rich Calkins and myself. And, guys, what do you think about I think LeBron James is a proper flag bearer for the Olympic team coming into the stadium tonight, don't you?
I don't have any problem with that. I think it's great. Who, do you know the woman? There's a man and a woman.
Simone Biles.
No, it's Coco Gauff.
Oh, Coco Gauff.
But I thought Simone Biles would be the other.
Or Katie Ledecky.
Yeah. I really thought that would be it would be Simone, but it's Coco Gauff.
I think Simone's done it already.
I think she had.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that could be true.
Yeah,
so.
and maybe Ledecky's done it as well. Because this is her third Olympics go-around.
Yeah. Remember her first one? She was a teenager.
Yeah, no doubt. So, do you watch a lot of the Olympics?
I do. I don't. I enjoy the Olympics. I like the Winter Olympics a lot better than Summer Olympics. But I'll watch.
Why would that be?
I like to watch ski jumping.
Sure you do. All right, you said you had a wings update.
Really kind of a sad thing that I hate to report. It breaks my heart, but there's not going to be a prospects tournament this year.
Oh, seriously?
They couldn't get 7 other teams to come to Traverse City for the best on best young kids. 2 teams, Detroit, Dallas is coming up with Jim Neal and Jim Lights. They're going to have a 2-game tournament with just those 2 teams, but there's no prospect tournament, and that kills me, man. Because that was a really cool thing.
Okay, one quick question: what's the story? Is Jake Trouba? Is this deal going to get done?
No. He's actually put Detroit on the no trade list.
I heard that.
He doesn't want to come to Detroit. Well,
I understand some people might not want to play in front. I don't know.
It's all about his wife. His wife is a
supermodel
in a residency. She's a physician. She's
that's what it was.
1-year residency.
Right. Yes.
She's committed to 1 year there in a residency, and he doesn't want to leave her there by herself. Yeah. This is too important for her career.
Okay.
So he decided.
That's a great story. I love that answer.
Yeah.
He wants to stay. I'll tell you what. When there was rumors that he was coming to Detroit, I was all in.
Oh, of course.
Because they need a defenseman like that. I don't care if he's a second or third pair defenseman. I don't care. They need a.
No, absolutely.
I almost said prick
it's
on
the one
the air.
thing they're missing. You could say prick on the air.
Almost.
They need a guy.
We say it every week now that you're out of the show.
They need a guy like that to keep the other team honest a little bit. They still get pushed around way too much. And the only other note I have is that the pundits are saying that the Red Wings are actually going to take a step backward this year because of what they did this summer. The players they lost, the players they added, I don't think they're as good as they were. Steve Yzerman's starting to face some pressure among fans and around the league.
No doubt about that.
And if they're not knocking on the door in the last game of the season like they were this year, they missed the playoffs by 0 points, right?
Right.
There's going to be a lot of
well, most people thought Patrick Kane was not going to re-sign. What was the magic words that Yzerman said to him on a 1-year deal?
I don't know. I guess it was a good deal.
I guess. Well, I don't know if you asked Draper about this, but I heard that this is his favorite locker room.
Oh, really?
Kane actually likes it here.
Yeah. Okay. It's an easy place to like. His buddy,
DeBrincat, but I don't know if he's brought out the best in DeBrincat.
He hasn't. Yeah. It's the thing. When Dylan Larkin went down for those 7 games, critical 7-game absence, Kane played okay. DeBrincat did nothing. And these are the 2 guys you're supposed to have.
That's when they had that slump. DeBrincat,
Yes.
Those 2 losses against Arizona in that stretch cost them the playoff berth.
That and those 2 turnovers against the Capitals.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the critical.
What was I going to say? Can't remember now.
One poll I saw goaltending.
That was what I was going to say. So you talked to Eric Zane, who is the play-by-play announcer in the stadium for the Griffins.
Right. For the Griffins,
he thinks that the 3 guys that are coming up from Grand Rapids will all play well in the NHL.
That's what we want to see. I'd like to. I want to see. That's the great unknown. If these kids come up and can, Edmondson, the big defenseman, especially, but they got a couple.
He likes the 5 starters that are looking at. We'll see how they play in camp.
Right.
But he thinks He thinks that those guys are NHL ready.
Well, that's what I was getting to, was that this poll or by experts or whatever said they have one of the worst goaltending things at the NHL level, but they have the absolute best goaltending at the bottom.
Well, he said the other opposite is Kosa's not ready.
Not. He's a year or two away.
In fact,
at best.
he thinks the kid from Michigan State
might be better.
Is even better.
That's right. That's right.
And I think he's a little pea brain, but he knows more about Grand Rapids hockey than I do.
I don't know if Cam Talbot, the new goaltender that they assigned from Los Angeles, is the answer. With Billy Husso and Alex Lyons, you'd like to think their goaltending is a little bit better. I'm not convinced that it's playoff goaltending. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Well,
Why they play the games.
Very quickly, what's your favorite sport for the Olympics?
In the
Summer Olympics.
In the Summer Olympics, used to be women's softball, but they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, they don't. I saw that they added break dancing or something. I'm like, what in the world?
I guess I like the swimming events.
Oh, okay.
I like the track and field stuff.
That's probably my.
I like some of the track and field that you never see, like the discus.
Yeah.
And
the javelin.
The javelin
right.
is.
Don't get hit by that spear.
And the decathlon, you know.
Oh yeah.
I like.
I enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a lot more interesting if they had javelin catching.
That would be absolutely.
And golf. They have golf.
They do. They do.
All right, so we had Keith in as a reminder that he doesn't work for the company anymore, but he will be on the mics with Rich and I tomorrow from 6 to 9 o'clock, which is always a dandy program. George Blaha will be joining us, maybe a couple other broadcast surprises. But we go live on the radio from 6 to 9 leading up to the start of the Canoe Marathon. If you can't be there, I think we do a pretty good job of bringing you the action, but this is all taking place on our other radio station, folks, 100.3.
There will be 25,000 people around the river there, and nobody has more fun than the three of us.
Yeah. Maybe not.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time. There might be more than 25 this year because there's more people in town than I've ever seen.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, like I said, if you don't want to fight the traffic, we're happy to bring you all the action on 100.3 tomorrow afternoon. Now it's time for CBS Radio. Thanks for joining us here on Up North Sports Radio.
A lot of a decision to make here. I just re-signed him. The only thing from a Cowboys perspective is that you're sick of being really good and you're ready to be elite. And you don't think you could be elite or win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. And if you're Jerry Jones and you're the judge, jury, and executioner, which he is, he's got every single title, he's got the ultimate decision-making power. If he has come to the conclusion that as a person and as a quarterback, he thinks Dak Prescott is great, but not great enough to win a Super Bowl, that's the one and only reason that I think he won't play his entire career, or at least I should say, get his next contract in Dallas. Because unlike some of these other guys that are due, we're going to talk about Jordan Love here in just a minute. Trevor Lawrence just got paid. Brock Purdy is about to break the bank. All those guys, it's going to be their first big contract. For Dak Prescott, the Cowboys have already done this, right? The Cowboys are basically having the same conversation again that they had 4 years ago. All right, we think he's good. We're not sure that we can do better. I guess we cut you the contract to go out there and win us 11 or 12 games and hope that things change in the playoffs and that at some point you're able to win us a Super Bowl. That's pretty much all on Jerry Jones. And if his decision is, yeah, at some point Dak is going to crack the code, he's our guy and we're going to win a Super Bowl, then you pay him. And if the answer is no, then you let him walk. If it were up to me, I'd pay him. There's only 6 or 7 quarterbacks out there that are the reason why a team can win 11, 12 games and ultimately win games in the playoffs, and I believe Dak Prescott to be one of those guys. Does he have flaws? Yeah, but I certainly have him on that short list, so I would pay him. In the case of Jordan Love, this one's pretty obvious. The only question with Jordan Love is there any chance that he's as good as the 2 quarterbacks that came before him? Because if so, then you want to do what the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes. Don't mess around. Don't worry about how much it is per year. Just ask him how much he wants. Basically, give him a blank check.